Hi everyone, I'm Tuğçe Koçoğlu-Hobden, founder of Coaching with Heart and Purpose and host of Light Conversations. I'm absolutely delighted to introduce my special guest today. I've got the fabulous Scarlet Gabriel, an international singer and actress working in TV, radio, celebrity backing vocals, and she's starred in West End and Broadway productions. Her talent has enabled her to travel the world doing what she loves. Scarlett's life hasn't always been so glam. She grew up in a single parent household with financial hardship, domestic violence, bullying, and suicidal thoughts. To escape, Scarlett focused on performing, education, and the need to succeed. She single handedly turned her life around and then the lives of those around her. Scarlett soon realised that her passion and dedication to helping others was her true purpose. As well as being an international superstar, Scarlett is also a youth empowerment business owner, a trained business mentor, certified life coach, and an octopus money coach. She helps other performers dealing with anxiety and mental health issues find peace and balance, which saw her receive an Industry Mind Award nomination. Scarlett also helps introverted small business owners hone their performance skills for areas including social media, online visibility, sales, client experience, and brand collaborations. Scarlett is soon to be off on a new tour, so I'm delighted that she could make it today before she goes off again. I know I'm not allowed to ask questions around it, so but welcome to Light Conversations, Scarlett. I'm so excited to speak to you. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me. And I'm super delighted we could make it happen as well before I go. You can ask questions about it. It's just I can't say which show it is because it hasn't been publicly announced yet. So it's kind of that top secret moment until it gets revealed publicly.
Exciting. And when will it be announced?
I don't know. Yeah, I asked my agent and he's just checking in. I don't know. I think it might be the times and what's going on in the world that it's made the processes a little bit different and shifted dates and stuff. So again, as you know, the times that we're going through, it is what it is. I'm just like, it's fine. I'll find out when I find out.
Yeah. Well, yeah, crazy times, like you said, really crazy times, right? Not just now, the last 18 months or so. So you must be really excited about this because it's probably been quite a while since you've been on tour or been able to do this.
Yeah. So my last job was Six the Musical, which it was on the cruise ship Bliss 2.0, and we were in Florida for rehearsals and then got onto the ship because of we've in the industry it's called install, which is where you put the show on the stage. We were in the middle of doing our install, so we weren't allowed off the ship, which is normal. And then then everything kicked off and we weren't allowed off the ship again until we got sent home. So that was like a year and a half-ish ago now. I got back in March last year, and yes, in terms of the performance industry, we were very hard hit because apparently we're non-viable businesses. Never mind the fact that when everyone's depressed, everyone turns on their TV or radio. But hey, who am I to say anything?
Gosh, yeah. Well, I'm so excited for you, and I can't wait till so you can announce that. Like, yeah, we could all watch you on your next adventure.
Yeah.
You mentioned in your bio, life wasn't glam when growing up for you. It was pretty tough, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. If how was it? You grew up in Huddersfield, or?
So I was born in Huddersfield, which is West Yorkshire, north of England. Quiet kind of town. I think it's Huddersfield City now, apparently. It's grown, but it was a town and people just, I'd call it a factory town where, people would just work in their local shop or the factories, and then that's kind of it. Some people would leave and go to London, and we did have basically domestic violence issues in the family, and my mum and me and my older sister at the time, she took us to London, and then we spent so many times moving around. I think I counted it, and maybe about a couple of years ago I counted that I'd moved 16 times in my childhood up until about uni or something like that. Moved 16 times, so upheaval was a thing. Yeah, it just wasn't cute, and we didn't have a lot of money. When we came to London, we still didn't have a lot of money. I remember we even lived in a squat. I forgot about that, which is basically when it's, you know, an illegal dwelling, basically. So we lived there. I mean, I'm not going to lie, we actually enjoyed it there. I suppose, apart from being scared that someone's going to bang the doors down and tell you to leave your home. But other than that, it was great. So yeah, we didn't have a lot of money, but I just tried my hardest to be a happy kid. I went out and I played and I made friends. It was more so, I suppose, when I got to secondary school that things got a bit worse. I suppose that's because I was old enough to start understanding what had happened in my past. You know, I call it cycles of abuse, but my family went through more of the same stuff. More domestic violence kind of took place. And then now I'm at a place where I was older to actually understand what that meant and be affected by it and be scared of it. And you know, so that really didn't do much for my confidence. I felt trapped in my own home. Well, it wasn't ever a home. I didn't ever feel like I had a home. It was a house. It was a place where I was. And so I used education as my escape. So going to school was the best thing because it meant I was out of the house. I didn't need to deal with anything. I didn't need to listen to raised voices or be scared of what punch I can hear, you know? So I spent a lot of time in education, and then the performing arts came within that, which again added to that because it was the place that it was a safe space. Like, in simple terms, it was a safe space where I could go and I could have a voice, where I could be heard and I could create the life that I wanted in my characters. If I wanted to be a rich queen with loads of money who didn't get bullied, then I could be her. So that performance really became everything to me, like literally everything. And I've got an inquisitive mind. I always have. So I've always liked the in front of the camera as well as behind the scenes. I think it's important to understand that all the different pieces make a whole. So I've always loved that. And yeah, just kept my performance journey going, kept my education journey going. And then as time got on, obviously I got older and wiser and thought, you know what, these things in my past have affected me in various ways, and maybe it's time I start looking at them. And then that's kind of when I started getting into personal development, self-improvement, and that journey has just continued, basically.
And just going back to the performance, and when you started becoming, you know, escaping in this performance, I guess, performing world, and being, you know, like you said, you could be anyone you wanted to be in front of the camera. And at what point did you realize that performance wasn't just escapism for you, but actually that it was a portal to your freedom?
I don't know, because I don't know. I even feel like, did I even realize that? Have I realized it now? Have you just told me that?
Or perhaps it wasn't. Maybe it was, you know, it was. I mean, it was just that when you were talking about it, it sort of felt to me, it was like, oh, you know, it's you said it was sort of started off as escapism, and then it became a real thing, right? It became something that you were, the world that you were going to not just play in, but actually, you know, as a grown up kind of go into, and suddenly, well, actually, this is going to bring me to a new level of experiences, you know, traveling.
Yeah, I think I didn't think of it like that, to be honest. I think I felt of, yes, it was escapism, and then it just became a way of life. Like, so I've always just seen it, you know, I hashtag life of a performer. It is a lifestyle. It is who I am. It is part of my life. It is part of my makeup. And I am grateful for it being part of that makeup. And it wasn't like there was this switch of oh, maybe I should now try and make money from this. Like, yes, that did come in. And I suppose in that respect, there was a moment when I felt like I couldn't make a business out of it, because I felt it was really weird, but it was almost like performance was about, yeah, freedom. Performance was about freedom and fun and excitement and loving everything and accepting everything. And then the outside world felt a little bit cold and hard and business, where people rob each other and you know, it was that kind of, I suppose, that mental perspective is what I had. And I suppose maybe, I don't know, but there definitely was a point, it was after university, definitely. But it was this challenge of how can I merge business and performance, because to me they represented two completely different things.
Right.
So I suppose the mindset work was about understanding that why shouldn't I be paid for what I'm good at and what I love and what I enjoy, mixed with actually business isn't bad and the devil, and not everyone in business is money grabbing and wants to rip you off and sell you fake goods and shoddy services.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can't remember when specifically.
But that's interesting, isn't it? Yeah, you're kind of the mindset growing up. We kind of have these beliefs, right? That kind of
Yeah.
we pick up from other people, and especially around money and business and all that stuff. So yeah, you kind of have those like everyone's out to get me, or you know,
Yes.
people aren't truthful or honest,
Yes.
and then yeah, you
Yes.
want to bring those two, merge those two things, and especially I guess with performance. You know, I know there's a lot of kind of grown-ups out there, or when we were younger, or the adults would always say, oh, you know, it's a very competitive world. Did you get a lot of that? And it's like, you know, it's very competitive. Are you sure? You know,
Yeah, I mean, not from my family. My family was an interesting bubble. But in terms of like other people, it was, yeah, it was always this, oh, you know, oh, you know, but loads of people do that, and loads of people are singers, and loads of people are this, and but what else are you gonna do? And what's your backup plan? And I was just like, go away, leave
yeah,
me alone. And I don't do backup plans. It's plan A, because
yeah.
if I come up with a plan B, then that means I don't believe in plan A, and I don't do what I don't believe in. So just take your not quite there yet mindset and just leave me to do me. You know, don't bring your naysaying stuff over here. I don't need it in my vicinity. Thank you. Goodbye.
Oh gosh, I love that. I love that because you said, what was it? Believe, you know, don't bring your non-believing mindset over here. I mean, it's that kind of incredible self-belief that you had. And like you say, yes, you have to maintain that belief, right? If you have that
Yeah.
plan B, then you're like, you know, not really believing that. And it's
Yeah.
almost like this power of possibility that you're bringing with you.
Yeah.
So, yes, I love that. And were you, I guess, were you always that kind of had that self, did you always have that self-belief even as a young girl?
I think, I don't know if I'd call it self-belief. I think that's what it is now, but I don't think it was that. Because I wasn't raised in a way to focus on the self,
Mm.
or even what I wanted. It was, I was dragged from pillar to post and I just had to get on with it. Start a new school, start another new school, get on with it. And there were no conversations in our household about how anything would affect me or anything. There were no conversations in the household. So,
Oh.
you know, that whole self-discovery, again, that's another thing that the arts gave me, because in
Mm.
the arts is where you actually assess yourself and look into who you are and who you want to be. And I definitely got that in university, because we had a specific module which was all about identity, and I'd never thought about identity. I didn't really know what it was, what it meant to me, what it's supposed to be. And through that module, that was a starting point of going, oh, okay, all right, yeah, I get it now. And then pulling bits of the past and going, oh, that's part of me. Oh, okay. And how do I use these to benefit me? Or how do I get over certain aspects? Okay. And then it kind of just grew. And then obviously the more in the personal development realm is the more you
Mm.
check in on yourself. And so then that's when I feel like, yeah, like self belief and self-love and self-care, that's when all of those self words came in. But before that, it wasn't that. It was just, you do as you're told and you get dragged from pillar to post and get on with it. Nobody cares about you. The end.
Yeah, so it's only then, right, then you kind of go, oh, personal development, this is interesting, how it's about me.
Yeah,
And exactly, it
yeah,
sounds like you had none of that, me is like, what, think about myself, think about, my needs and all that. And
yeah,
it's quite a, so I guess it was quite a kind of a unique way of looking, a new perspective for you. And
yeah.
was that then the point that you realized that actually there's something within, another portal almost within the performance that led you into the personal development, the coaching work that you do, because you're a business coach or a mentor and a life coach and a money coach?
Yeah. So I think what it was is that I rubbish upbringing, and then I knew that I didn't want that for my children. And I knew that I don't have children, by the way, at this moment in time. But I knew that I didn't want that for my future children. And I knew that I didn't want anyone else to have to experience what I've experienced, because the amount of work it takes to get over it. And realistically, I've done work on myself, but I haven't actually done that much work of going back and really, psychoanalyzing myself, blah, blah, blah. I'm on my own journey and I know where I'm at and I know what I want to deal with in what order.
Yeah.
So it, I forgot what I was saying. What did you ask me again?
So I think it was about the portal within the performance
and switching it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically what happened is I had rubbish upbringing, found performance, off the back of performance, made decisions that I didn't want a certain lifestyle and that I did want a certain lifestyle. Then I started working out how to get that type of lifestyle. And then I feel like, how did I even stumble across personal development? I don't know, but the first book I think I read, no, I don't think it was first. Anyway, somewhere along the lines, I read The Science of Becoming Rich by Wallace D. Wattles. And I was like, oh my gosh, Becky, look at her butt. I was like, this is amazing. And yeah, that was definitely a pivot point, definitely. And then it just kind of went from there. So basically what I didn't realize is that all of the work I had done on myself, I was kind of doing it subconsciously and I didn't realize what I was doing. I just knew that I didn't want to live that life and I wanted to move away from pain and move towards pleasure. And I knew that I just somehow seemed to have some resilience, that, I'd get knocked down and I'd get back up, because I'm like, I don't care. This is not that I need to get away from that life. I have to get away from that. So whatever it takes to get away from that is what I'm going to do. So a lot of my stuff was about that. And I didn't even realize about moving towards what you actually enjoy. It was all just about get away from that. So when personal development came to me, it started showing that that's the way. Like, if you work on your mindset and you focus on positivity, the negativity just melts away. Like, that's the way I see it. If you've got an empty cup, like cup half full, half empty. If you've got an empty cup and you fill that cup with water, and water represents positivity, you just keep filling that cup. And then one day you'll look and go, oh wow, that cup's just full of positive. Where did all that, let's call air negative in this analogy, where's all that negativity gone? Oh, it's just gone. So I just constantly kept practicing positivity. I started going to like seminars, and I remember it was definitely 2010 is when I literally wrote my kind of manifesto to myself, like, today I decide to be wealthy, and I've got it, literally still got that piece of paper. And I went to the Millionaire Mind seminar by T. Harv Eker, and I loved it. I'd gone to loads of other things before, and I'd also gone to coaching, a coaching 2-day workshop before, which is quite funny because then I qualified with the Coaching Academy, and that's exactly the company that I met 10 years earlier. And went to the 2-day seminar and was like, I love this is really enjoyable and I'm really good at it. I've always been that person that people come to when people want advice, when they want to know the truth. I've always been that person. I've just always been that person. So it was like, well, if I'm naturally good at it, should we explore it a bit more? And I didn't plan to, but it just kept coming in all different shapes and forms. So then I was like, all right, fine, let's go with it. And then I qualified to become a life coach because I got a message in my inbox 10 years later from this company that I signed up to 10 years earlier saying, you know, we've got scholarships on offer. And something just hit me. I don't know, you know, spiritual people might call it a download. And I was just like, go for it. You're going to get it. And it just literally dropped in like that. So I went for it and I got it. And just loads. The mentoring, I was naturally a mentor. So I then again decided, again in my inbox, come and train to be a, you know, mentor. Okay. Because I was obsessed with education, you know, from the earlier days where education was part of that journey of escape. Anything educational I would always latch onto anyway. And it just so happened that more and more personal development education stuff made its way to me.
And that is, again, that power of possibility I think we were talking about a moment ago. It's like those little kind of opportunities and kept presenting themselves through synchronistic avenues, you know, inbox, you know, little kind of, oh, come and have this, you know, come and do this with us. And, you know, getting those kind of like, what you call it, a download or it's your intuition, it's your inner wisdom just going, you know, those little whispers that sometimes if we're just completely in the doing and busy, we don't recognize that and go, actually, do you know what? I'm gonna go for that. Why not? See what happens there. And how incredible. And I love what you were saying around that whole element of that positivity, you know, having that, it's almost like you're freeing that energy, right? That energy of like that negativity, because a lot of people can easily be drawn into that, right? We've all been in situations where we've kind of gone, oh, I'm going to go into that negative spiral, and it's like hanging on to it, right? And sometimes it makes us feel good, you know, it makes us feel, I'm going to use the word, that victim mindset, right? That victim, we kind of get into that drama triangle, you know, we call it in coaching and in transactional analysis in psychology. That drama triangle can be very, very what's the word I'm trying to think of, sucking you in, you know, it's alluring, and it keeps, you know, that's that kind of protection there. It's like, I know how to be in that way, but you're like, no, I want to get there. So in order to get there, I got to get myself out of that energy, that negative energy, and focus on that, because that's like that, you know, again, laws of attraction, right? You know, when you get into that level, that frequency that you want to get to, and start attracting that same level, that's what you were doing. Amazing. And like you say, it wasn't like you were doing it unconsciously. You weren't even doing it like, I know I'm going to do this, but it was just happening naturally. So
it's been a journey, and it still is, because everything, you know, as you go, like you said, law of attraction, power of positivity, like attracts like. So the more I learn about myself is the more I then attract to add to myself. So my journey is always evolving, and I believe everyone should kind of feel like that, because life to me is a journey, it's not a destination. And I think too many people are trying to just hit destinations, and especially this modern day world, you know, showing us that, you know, if you fake it till you make it, and if you know, do this on Instagram and do that on Facebook and do, you know, then you'll tick that box and you'll be accepted by the world and everyone will love you and then you'll be happy. Yay! And it's just like, can we stop? Like, can we actually just stop, take a step back and think about the logic of that? Like, it doesn't make sense. And also, again, because of my background as well, along the line of my, you know, we spoke about my performance, but behind the scenes, I also, you know, day job stuff. I worked in a photography studio back in the day, like literally in 2010, I think, as well, or 2008 even to 10. I worked in a photography studio. So I was sat next to retouchers before retouching blew up in the world of, you know, everyone retouching their photos on Instagram. So again, I feel lucky that I've had that insight to be able to see the fakery. But the issue is everyone is getting better at being fake. That even I now, fully versed, you know, one of my best friends is still a retoucher from that same photography studio. Even I'm getting to a point where I'm like, wait, has that been retouched? I can't even tell anymore. And that's really not good. Like, if we can't even see the difference between real and fake, then we have no idea what we're being influenced, and we can't necessarily even tell what's positive or negative anymore, or what impacting us. And that's why we're struggling with mental health, people. Like, come on. It's time to take that step back and do the self-work, because relying on social media to show you what life is supposed to be is nonsense. Because I know for a fact, I have seen people who I actually know kissing, looking like best relationship ever on social media, but you got cheated on 2 weeks ago, babes. Like, what? Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But I can't deal.
And it's so interesting that you said it, because this is a time, I mean, we could go in so many different directions. Yeah, I know. I think with what you've just said, which is amazing. There's just, knowing that what's real and what's fake, it is so blurred these days on so many levels.
Yeah.
So, going back to that point you made about fake it till you make it, it's, what would your advice be to business owners, or people who are just about to start off maybe in their business, an entrepreneur? What advice would you give them?
So for me, I do pull up on the analogy of don't fake it till you make it, just make it. Like, you have to decide who you want to be as a person. Are you in it for the long game or the short game? Because I know, and I've always known, I'm in it for the long game. So you know what? Maybe I haven't got as many likes on social media. Maybe I haven't got as many followers. But I mean, for a start, I don't live my life based on fake followers, whatever. I've got enough sense to know that that's actually not real. But I would say you have to decide who you want to be. Decide if you're in your business for the long run or the short run. And it's not to say that there's a right way or a wrong way. There's people who start up businesses with the sole purpose of exiting them and selling them on. And if that's your model and that's who you want to be and that's how you want to live your life, because that creation stage is all of your excitement, then do that. But for me, it's about staying true to who you are and also operating from a place of passion and purpose and love. Because when you're just in it to screw people over or to just make a quick buck, you will be found out. You will. I worked for a company that were, killing it in the industry for a very long time. But 12 years later, all of their nonsense caught up on them and they went bankrupt. And from being a worker in there, I could see what the nonsense was. And for example, it was not giving clients the true information to make true decisions, and then saying, it's fine, we'll just take the money and then we'll deal with the backlash from, the 50% of clients who were smart enough to check on it. But for the other 50% who are happy to go with it, we've kept their money. And they were genuinely, that was part of their values. Like, what?
Yeah. Well, there were so many financial companies that have been, we know back in the 2007, 2008, and all the kind of, the financial breakdown, or whatever we'll call it. They're built on inauthentic and dishonesty, right? And at the end of the day, that will come through. The truth will come out.
It really will.
So so it's like being, you said the word authentic. It's being that authentic. Take those masks off. We all have masks, right? We all do. We've all worn our masks, and we all do, go around in certain situations wearing a mask. Not the ones that we're used to, the literal COVID masks. Although that's another thing. But those masks that we wear, those roles that we play in society, right? And we are so uncomfortable with being that kind of that true authentic self because we're afraid of the disapproval we're going to get.
Yeah. And I think what I would add to it as well, especially in this day and age, it's sometimes you can't listen to all of the people that are around you. It's about, again, it really for me is about bringing it back to yourself and having that conversation with yourself and decide who you want to be. Because back in the day when I was starting out my business journey, there was information everywhere. I was looking for it because I was like, how do I start a business? What do I do? How should I do this? Which social media platform is best for me? Blah, 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 blah. And you just run yourself ragged and go round and round in circles because everyone says something different. And it's not that everyone is wrong and it's not that everyone is right. It's just that you have to understand which bits work for you and take the bits that are relevant to you once you have decided who it is you want to be. So for example, I've had just taking it back to social media, like loads of people have told me you should be on this platform or that platform. And the truth of the matter is I've tried it. I've jumped onto this platform because everyone said it was great. And I've jumped onto that platform because everyone says it's great. And I'm now at a point where I'm like, I like Instagram because I like to put up pretty pictures. Okay. And also just the layout. And I find, for me personally, I'm like, Facebook is just, I understand, like my sister is a perfect example. Her business is booming off the back of Facebook. Yes. I'm just not feeling it. So you know what? If that means I miss out on a certain chunk of people, then it is what it is. That's a decision that I'm happy to deal with, because for me, I have to do what makes me happy. And Facebook, you're just not making me happy. I'm sorry, at this moment in time, you're just not making me happy. So I'm not into it. I'm just not into it. And it's that simple. So now, even recently, like I've rejigged some of my things and I'm working out, okay, well, if I enjoy Instagram, how do I make Instagram work for me better? And so, for example, because of the type of person I am and because of my personality, I'm very spontaneous. So stories works for me because I don't sit down and plan what I'm going to talk about. I can't be bothered. And again, that was advice that I've been given. You know, you must plan everything out. And it's like, I don't work like that. Like, if I wake up and I'm in the mood, I'm in the mood. And if I'm not, I'm not. And that's part of what got difficult for me in business, where it was like, having to adhere to certain rules that I thought had to be done. And I'm like, no. So like now I've just got up and done an Instagram story because I felt like it. The end. I don't care. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, it sounds like, you know, what you're saying is that find the tool that works for you.
Yeah.
You know, what resonates most with you. I mean, like you said, you know, before, it's make it, not fake it. You know, find out who you are, what your gifts are, what you're going to bring out there.
Yes.
And then find the platform that suits you. Because I was the same, completely the same, Scarlett, where it was like, I've got to be on everything. I've got to do this thing. I've got to do the newsletter. I've got to do it weekly. And oh my God, you're like, no. And you know what, for me, it was back in lockdown 2.0. That's when I had had my meltdown, was like, it was after Christmas, back into homeschooling, which was like, oh my God. And it was winter, right? It was January, quite miserable. It rained a lot in January. And I remember going, look at all these people. So I had that kind of that Facebook, Instagram, you know, scroll on my feed going, oh my God, comparing myself to all the coaches. And getting jealous of them, going, oh my God, they've all got their shit together. I've got a new program out. I can't even get a bloody post on Instagram, is what I was thinking. And then the mums out there all posting on Facebook, and, you know, and like, oh my God, they're little boys doing all the homework and the homeschooling and then some. And whereas my kid won't even hold a pencil properly, you know, it was. And I was having that emotional reaction to everything. And actually, so off the back of that, I've created this I've got a masterclass coming up in the 15th of July. So I was like, oh my God, I was feeling all of this, going, oh my goodness, why am I feeling all this? I mean, I'm human. Stop doing it all. Stop trying to do it all. And at that point, I was like, right, I'm going to stick with the channels that actually resonate most with me. And it's so much easier. It makes you know, so much happier, aren't we?
Seriously. And I'm like, do you know what? One of the decisions I made earlier on in life is that I care more about my happiness than the money. So a lot of my decisions aren't money based. I don't think any of them are, which isn't necessarily the best thing. But I'm just being honest. I'm being honest about who I am. I know that I am going to be successful. That's something I've always known. And I know, so that taps back into the self-belief. I suppose I didn't know that. I just knew I'd always be successful. I didn't know what that looked like or what it meant. I just knew it. And I'm just like, I have taken on certain things for the money and I wasn't happy and I was miserable. And it drained so much of my energy that when I had the time to go and do the happy things, I didn't want to, because I was so you know what I mean? So it's like, if you weigh it up as pros and cons, for me, when I weigh up my pros and cons, I would much rather prefer to have less money and be super happy and just super happy than do everything and make every decision based on the money. Because at the end of the day, I mean, listen, there's probably some people out there in the world that works for, but it does not work for me. It doesn't call to my heart. It doesn't call to my soul. And it's not where my genius lies. My genius lies when I am like, my genius pops out when I'm super calm, super chill vibes, and in that flow of, I don't want to do this today. I'm just going to go for a walk. And then as I'm going for a walk, it'll be like, ooh, amazing new business idea. Ooh, amazing new VIP program. Ooh, amazing new module. And it just pings off. So it's that thing again. If I was just chasing the money, then I wouldn't actually have the spiritual or the intuition or the stuff that I need and that I know is my best work. Every single thing that I put out that I know is my best work, which is basically everything I do, just saying. I'm being deadly serious because again, I know my process. All of that comes to me and has come to me when I'm living that certain way. So it's more important to me to just continue to live that certain way.
And I'm so glad you brought that. You brought up flow, the word flow, that flow. Exactly. It is just to recognize that flow. And when you're in that flow, and whether it's, you go out for a walk and you kind of step into that, and then you get those pings of like inspiration and ideas. And it's amazing, isn't it?
I love it.
No, I'm on a run. I'm like, yes, oh, that's a brilliant business idea. If you're just constantly thinking about the one thing that is, it's got to make the money, if you're thinking from that perspective, you're just going to be doing the same thing. I always find I'm not actually coming up with new ideas and new ways of doing things right.
Yeah. And again, I think that's where you can fall into that trap of just listening to everyone outside of yourself. Because again, you're going to be like, I'm going to join this business program. Oh, don't get me started. Right. Anyway, it's that whole thing. Join this and join that, and I'll make you a millionaire in like 12 days. And it's just like, listen, I'm going to keep it so honest here. I don't want to say I bought into that because that's not what happened, but I have purchased a program like that. I didn't purchase it because it was like, come and make $1 million in a day. But it did have that element, but there was also something about the person that I really did like. So I knew that I was, and long story short, there were things I could take away from it that were beneficial, yes. But what I also realized is that it just, it ain't cute. Like, I do believe the person is a great person and they do have fantastic work. But I found, because I've got a very analytical brain as well, because performers, we're taught to analyze text. We analyze everything. So when I took a step back and actually analyzed the program, because I was like, well, why am I not getting the results that you're getting? And why am I not getting the results that, all your testimonials are getting? And it is not because I'm not a hard worker. That's like my middle name. Do you know what I mean? It's not that. So I took a step back because, again, I don't put blame outside. I don't deal with blame anyway, but I bring it back to myself. Why is this not working for me? What is it? And I realized, if we just call a spade, it was that the way they built the program wasn't based. It was almost like, so this is what you get, those people that are like, well, I did this and it worked for me, so you should do it. And that's a way of dealing with things. But the truth of the matter is, if I don't have a conversation with you and work out what's going on in your life and your business and how you're different to me, because we're all individuals, so just copying someone else's model is not going to benefit you. So I know that, but I still, bought into this model. And then, long story short, I basically, in the nicest possible way, this is just my terminology, I'm quite straightforward, but I ripped it to shreds. Because when I took a step back and took it for what it was, I was like, hang on a minute, this doesn't actually make sense. Because on one side, you're saying that it takes 6 weeks to get to this point, but then you've also got this other thread that says to do this thing actually takes 4 weeks. So technically, isn't that 10 weeks in total? But you're effectively selling it like it's 6 weeks. And also, you're not pointing out where this element, this 4-week element, actually sits. So you're confusing me. And that's why I'm not getting it. It's got nothing to do with my knowledge or my skill set, because I know how to get stuff done. It is the fact that the program you have put together, I have this thing that I call foundational learning, which is basically about literally building step by step. Stop jumping ahead and assuming somebody's going to know something that they don't know. And if you haven't checked in, it's your job as a teacher to check what your people know. Or if you know you only want to work with beginners, say that. Don't sell something, don't sell a dream to everyone when you know for a fact that what you need is, oh, actually, it only works if you've got a team of 5 to deliver all of those other things for you. Do you know what I mean?
What's the catch? Yeah. And was there personal interaction, like one-to-one, or was it just one of those, in a video program? Because I know that sometimes can be tricky for people if you're not getting having that conversation element, because how are they going to know who you are as a person and your uniqueness?
Yeah, I mean, long story short, it wasn't personal, and there's like 5,000 people in the group.
Yeah.
So don't get me wrong, they have definitely done the best they can with trying to allow you to get some contact. I'm doing quote unquote here, but in all honesty, it's just no. I think all it is, like I said, it's not that it was a bad program, and it's not that the person that did it from a bad place. I definitely don't believe that at all, because I wouldn't have been drawn to it. But I do believe it's just that thing that I just wish people would take a bit more time. When you have to remember that if you're putting something out there, if you're putting out your product and service, so this is going back to the business and what tips I'd have for business owners. If you're putting something out there, be honest about what you are putting out. So for example, like I said, if you need it to be, oh, actually, you really need to have 3 assistants, 1 to help you with that 4-week bit, 1 to help you with that 5-week bit, then say that, and don't accept money from the people who aren't in that place, because all that will happen is you'll have unsatisfied customers like me. I'll give the credit where it's due, because it is great, but there's a lot that wasn't right with it.
Yeah. So I guess going back to that for the business owners, and we said your advice to them when they're starting off a business, it was being honest element of it, that be honest and transparent, I guess.
Yes.
Be authentic, know yourself first, know who you are, know your inner wisdom as well, listen to your inner guidance, and the platforms, know which platforms to work on. You don't have to do one and do it bloody well.
Exactly. Instead of 17.
And exactly. And then going overwhelmed. That's when we have to call our own coaches and stuff. Going, I'm so overwhelmed again.
Yes, exactly. Literally.
Exactly. So brilliant advice. I love all that. And then what would you have wanted to learn, Scarlett, before setting up your own business? Is there anything that you wish someone had told you?
Loads. One thing I will point out is that, so I set up my youth empowerment business in, I think, like 2013-ish. And then I joined the Prince's Trust. So it's a Prince's Trust supported business in 2014. And basically, the reason why I jumped to the Prince's Trust is because, like I said earlier, I was listening to so many different people. One person telling me about marketing, one person telling me about that. And everyone's got a different version of what they think. Marketing's more important. No, branding's more important. No, sales is more important. No, this is more important. So I got to a point quite early on in that little journey, and I said, I just want to talk to one person. I just want advice from one person that I trust and believe in. And basically the Prince's Trust came along, and I went up to become a Prince's Trust supported business, got accepted, and I only listened to them. I switched off every other thing that was telling me something about business, and I went through their model and their structure, and I loved it. It made life so much easier, because otherwise it gets overwhelming. And also, like I said, if you don't know what you don't know, So you don't know if someone is telling you something that's beneficial to you or not, because you've never done it before. If it's the first time you've set up a business, then how do you know if branding should come before sales or sales should come before branding?
Right.
How do you know if you need a website or if you need a business card? And the truth of the matter is, some people work on some and some people don't. I used to have business cards. Now I don't. Find me on Insta. Done. Do you know what I mean? you know, so it's a tough one, but I would really say find that one person, organization that you trust and believe in, and go with them for a while. Now, another reason why I would say that is because like I've done it with my performing arts life as well. Like I've had one teacher that wasn't great, and then it's only when I switched to another teacher I was like, okay. And I just think it allows you to be a bit more streamlined, because business, there's a lot to it. There's so many elements. And when you're a CEO starting your own business, you have to be everything. You're the person doing, you're delivering the service, but you're also creating the service. You know, you're the visionary, you're the managing director, you're the branding department, the sales department, the accounts department. You are too many things already. So you don't need any extra confusion into that pot of what is already business confusion. Another thing, what I wish I would have been taught and learn about, I think more so it is the financials. Because again, my background, I grew up poor, so money wasn't a thing. So it's taken me a long time to understand not what money is and what it can do, partly, but also how to use it. Because my version, growing up poor, is you don't have a lot of money, so scrimp and save and only spend what you need to. But for example, not knowing that there are good debts out there, and not knowing that, you know, getting funding. Because again, when I set up my youth empowerment business, everyone was like, oh my God, this idea is amazing. Go and get funding, go and get funding. And I was like, I don't know how to. I just know that I am a great teacher and I want to teach the kids. That's all I know. I just want to help deprived people. I don't know how. And nobody... Yeah, I think I'd say as well, see if you can find what you're missing. Team up with what you haven't got. So if I use that example, if someone had given me that advice, then I would have 7 years ago teamed up with a funding person. Let me write the programs, let me deliver the programs, let me hire the staff, train the staff, because I can do all of that in my sleep. But I don't know the funding side. I don't know the business side. I don't have a parent that has a business. I don't have aunties and uncles that I talk to, let alone have a business and could give me advice. So just try and think about what it is you're missing and get someone else to fill that gap for you.
Ask for help, is that?
Yes, yeah.
It's that asking for help, isn't it? That's really important. So I love that collaboration. It's the bits that you can't do, you don't know, get help. It's such a liberating thing, I think, once you can start asking for help, you know, because we can't do it all.
We can't.
It isn't humanly possible. And like you said, we've all got gaps in knowledge and areas. And I think for me, but it was like once that letting go of a specific area of my business and saying, someone else, can you do that part of it? And it's so nice. And yes, paying people to do that, there are elements that we have to kind of, you know, invest in, and investing is really important, isn't it? You know, like you were saying, you could have gone, actually, no, when you were saying you're scrimping and saving, I'm not investing in anything because I don't want to put money anywhere. But that's an important element of it, is investing and then receiving that. So it's that kind of so ask for help. I think that's a really good.
And I mean, I think I learned that later on. So I have got assistants, and for example, I was talking about social media, and it's one of those ones where I was like, right, Instagram, I love you, but you're too much. You and your algorithms changing every weekend is too much for me. You're giving me issues that I don't need in my life. So you know what, assistant, you take that bad boy on. I'm not interested. So I have moments where I do my own social media when I'm in the mood, and then I have moments where I go, you're getting on my nerves, you deal with it. And I love that. Again, that's part of my flow. And and I love it. And I love I've got my own structure. When I do hand over my social media, it's handed over in a structured way. So it's like I plan my posts in advance, or I gather all the photos, and then, you know, I've got a team member that I've trained up. So I trust her. So I allow her to write on my behalf, because I've tried and tested her so many times to know that she can write like me. Do you know what I mean? Like, it is what it is.
Yeah. I mean, exactly. So, you know, once you've got built that bond and trust with someone, you know, you can let them just get on with it and free your time up and your energy up to do the bits that you love to do.
Yes.
Because, you know, busy, right? Busy lady. Got lots of stuff. I wanted to ask you, I know we haven't got not too long left, but I really wanted to go back to the element about mental health and mental and emotional health. You know, I was saying back in January, I was feeling like a bit, oh, whoa, it's all getting a bit crazy in my life, or life is just getting crazy. How have you found the last, I mean, I guess 18 months in particular, I know talking to many clients, it has been a challenge for people. How have you handled your own mental health?
So the thing is, because I've been on my self-work for such a long time, like literally 2010, I am now 11 years deep in self-work, mindset work, self-empowerment. And as we know, I don't say practice makes perfect. Practice makes permanent. So because I'm so practiced in it, I'm a decade practiced in it. So I'm not going to say I don't slip. I'm not going to say I don't have down days. Of course I do. I'm still a human being, believe it or not. But what I am able to do is recover quicker. Because I've got that practice. So I mean, one of the things I would recommend to all people, that's why I do this work, I wouldn't do it if I didn't believe in it, but I would recommend finding that version of self-help outside of yourself. So for example, throughout the pandemic, I have checked in with, actually, no, I didn't check in with a life coach. I did at some point when I had a breakdown. I hollered at a life coach. Actually, no, in trying to prevent a breakdown, I hollered at a life coach because I can identify the signs. Because I'm so versed in it, I can identify the signs that I was like, I need a life coach. And I've had counseling. Yes, I got counseling. But that's not in this pandemic. I'm just talking a little bit before it. And I had therapy session. But within this chunk of pandemic, what I did is I said, I can't be dealing with this situation that's going on in the world. It's too much for me. I'm an empath. If I allow myself to absorb this, it will ruin me, like literally. So I had to put my own bubble of protection around myself and be like, what is it you want to do? And I said, I'm going to take a time out, but I'm going to work on my business, and I'm going to work on continuing to spread mindset love and mental health love. I set up Industry Insider, which is a program that I set up recently, which combines performing arts with mental health. So 1 week, it's a membership. So 1 week we would do like a mental performing arts masterclass. The next week we would have a mental health chat, and then the next week we would have I can't remember, but it had about 4 different things in it, which were, again, just came to me, and I was like, I'm going to do it. And because the performing arts industry was hit very hard, and I literally throughout the pandemic had 3 young people in my DMs talking about them wanting to commit suicide, and it was like, this is a lot. So that again was a response to what I was getting on my inbox, and created this to create a safe space for those people. You know, my DMs were open to support people, but at the same time I had to take a step back and go, I still need support too. Because I'm still going through a pandemic, and I'm actually now going through Black Lives Matters as well, and I'm Black, so actually how does that affect me too, you know? But I go through everything, if I'm to sum it up, I go through everything with positivity, love, and understanding and kindness. I take the steps back that I need to take, and that can only be done once you understand yourself. So I would really just urge anyone to go and get self-work. And I am going to shamelessly plug myself here, because one of the things that I did recently, sorry, my love, one of the things that I did recently is rejigged my services. So if you look on scarletgabriel.com/services, I've changed it to all taster sessions. Now, I did that for multiple reasons, which touches into everything I've said to you today, which is I'm about to go on tour. The time and the time I have is not the time that I would have had during the pandemic. In the pandemic, I could give you all my time and all my energy, but I'm going to be on tour, and that takes a lot out of me. So I've set up taster sessions of mental health chats, performance masterclasses, business mentoring, and a quick, this is my favorite, a quick DM. Just DM me. It's £5 and DM me, and I will give you back all of the love, all of the advice, all of the support. So you don't need to there's no excuse, is the way I see it. How can I give something to people that allows them to take my hand that I am reaching out? And that for me is my favorite one, where it's like, just holler at me really quickly. I've got your back. I'll give you all the love I can within 5 minutes. And, you know, hopefully you can crack on and stay sane.
Bloody love it. Yes, and gosh, it's all about, you know, promoting yourself here. So yes, I will, and I'll put down, we're going to have all of Scarlett's links at the end of this, or the bottom of in the YouTube page and the social media posts. So we'll have your website, Instagram. You're not on Facebook, LinkedIn.
I'm on them, but I just focus on
so where they can kind of really kind of get to. And you've got your link tree. Is it link tree or in
yes,
bio?
My link tree. Yes, that had
all those bits that you just talked about, like, you know, what you set up now, prepared for yourself as you go into this next part of your journey. Which is brilliant. And yeah, like you were saying, you know, it's find your listeners, viewers out there, find what works for you. During the pandemic, for me, oh my God, I think I started Kundalini Yoga about 6 months before the pandemic. And I've literally done it. I do it every day. I mean, whatever form of it I do. And that to me was just such a lifesaver, really. It's been amazing. I mean, whether it's the breath work, so I in my workshop, my masterclass that I'm going to be doing, and my 10-week program in September, there'll be a lot of combination of that. I love blending that work in, because yes, it just helps. But again, we invite you all to find something that works for you. You know, we all have we're all different, you know. Let's celebrate that we are all different, and something that works for me, we can share, Scarlett can share. But you know, keep exploring and find those self-help, self-development tools that really resonate with you. Yes. And what else was I gonna ask you? I know I want one. If there's someone here who is watching this thinking, do you know what? I've got one little toe sticking out the circle of my comfort zone. Little toe just there over the comfort zone, but I'm too scared. What can I do to, you know, what advice would you give them to just really push themselves out of that fear, I guess?
I think you have to know if you are capable of getting yourself to that place, or if you genuinely know that you need someone else to help you get there. So the reason I say that is I'm a self-driven person. I'm a self-starter. I know if I'm feeling rubbish, I know I can pull myself out of it. But when I get to a point where I know that I can't, or I feel like all my methods aren't working at this moment in time, I will reach out to somebody else. So I would say, if you're newer to the personal development realm, I would definitely recommend reaching out. But I would also, like I've said before, reach out to someone you can trust, and that may be hard, but just please, if you do reach out to someone and they don't give you what you need, please don't tarnish everyone with the same brush. Like, there's thousands of coaches out there. You know, the person that I bought that program that I was talking about is a coach. You know, I may now not go back to that person, but that would never stop me going to a different person, because you've got to think about it, like in the real world, not everyone's good at their job. Let's just keep it real. And there's levels to how good people are at their jobs. So some people are in positions that they shouldn't be in. How many times have we all worked for someone and gone, you're a rubbish manager. How did you get this job? So use that same thought process when you find your support. I would also say, please genuinely reach out to me. I am more than happy to have you in my DM to just ask me a quick question. I really don't care. Like that's part of my flow, you know, being able to just give someone something. That's part of my flow, and I've dealt with it. It's who I am. I can't change it. So if anything I've said has resonated with you, then please do reach out. In terms of being scared, I'd say change that fear into excitement. Become excited excited for your growth. Become excited for what can be if you allow yourself to take that extra step.
Yes. I love that you said that, because I always look, when people say anxiety can be that, it's that excitement that's got a bit confused.
Yes, exactly.
So
Yeah.
yes, take that and you can make it into something exciting. And do you have any other last words of wisdom that you'd like to share?
I would really just genuinely invite people to come and connect with me. So like I said, I do live more on Instagram. The reason why I'm saying please come and connect with me is because I do try and post things that are helpful, beneficial. You may just see a pretty picture, but if you actually read the description, there's going to be some life lessons, some tips, some advice. I've changed a lot of my highlights. It's still a work in progress, but for example, I've got, I don't know, like, for example, Q&As for performers and stuff like that. So I do try and be as helpful as I can on my Instagram page. So please do connect. If you don't know where to go and you don't know who to turn to, I am so non-biased. Like, I am so, if I know I can't help you and I know someone that I think can, I will happily pass you on. Like, my purpose on this planet is to help support people's growth, and that doesn't mean that it has to be with me, and I'm fine with that, and I know that, and I love it. I'm just happy to be able to help someone. Like, so please, if there's anything, no question is too stupid, not at all. I love it all. I'm obsessed with it. I love getting to know people, and I love helping people in whatever little intricacies they have, because trust me, you're not the only one that has had that thought. And listen, you've heard my life story now, guys. There ain't nothing you can say that's going to shock me, okay?
And let's also add, Scarlett also brings a lot of joy. So
Yeah.
she's always got fun. Her Instagram posts are always so much fun, and as well. And there's always interesting, like I said, they're not just pretty pictures. Yeah. So there's always advice and information in there that's really useful. And actually, when we need the information, the useful information, when we're looking at something, it's always there at the right time. Yeah. So thank you so much, Scarlett. It's been so awesome.
Yay! Amazing. And sorry, just to slightly add on to that, I know we're going to go, but also just remember, it's also about, you may not, the person you latch onto or meet. So say, for example, you talk to me, I may not be right for you, but you've got to think about what my network is. So I've got a network of coaches, consultants, business people, therapists. So again, I might not be right for you. If I don't resonate with you, that's absolutely fine. But if I listen to what you say and go, I think you might benefit from a therapist, I will put you in touch with a therapist friend or whatever. And again, if they don't resonate with you, that's fine. But at least it's a starting point. I just wanted to say that.
Brilliant. And this has been amazing. So a little quick roundup as well. Don't forget, so if you're starting off your business and you are not sure where to start with one thing, get to know yourself more, be authentic, you're not going to please everyone in this business, in the business world. We're not going to resonate with everyone, and that's okay. Be okay with it. And connect with us, connect with Scarlett. She's got lots of connections and she's full of joy as well as wisdom. So thank you for being on Light Conversations, Scarlett.
Yay. Thank you so much for having me. Mwah.
And not ending the meeting. I don't want to end the meeting. I was going to